Welcome to my YouTube channel Bachelor and Master English. Today we are talking about The Wretched Stone by Chris Van Allsburg. In today's video we shall be talking about the summary. There will be analysis, there will be comments, and there will be wrapping up of the text. And the story begins with the introduction. Okay, I'm sure you'll accompany me till the end of this video. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel, and if you have been watching a channel without being a subscriber, please don't forget to subscribe, and I request you again to recommend your friends and fellows to continue with my videos in my YouTube channel Bachelor and Master English. So let's go with the text. Here is introduction. The text is The Wretched Stone, published in 1991 AD. What Smith, or the writer here, is Chris Van Allsburg. The language he chose to write is English. It's from America. The genre is mystery, legend, and short fiction. Subgenre is children fantasy. Plot: in a story recounted through the daily log of Captain Alan Hope, the sailors aboard the Rita Ann become mesmerized and transformed by a mysterious glowing rock, and only music and books can restore them to normal. And the topic is mysterious rock, and it's about sailing. Theme: negative effects of television. What the writer is trying to teach us, the negative effects of television. This story is dedicated for older readers, and this is comprised of excerpts from Journal of Rita Ann in the form of diary. These journal entries tell of a long journey taken on a ship. This journal takes the narrator to a jungle land based on the illustrations, and in that jungle the narrator comes upon a stone. This stone is so intriguing to him that he brings it up aboard the ship. The stone gives off a strange glow and makes the crew act oddly. When the narrator decides to get rid of the stone, the crew locks themselves in the room with the stone and refuses to do their job and steer the ship. With a storm brewing, the narrator tries again to get the crew to work. When the narrator finally gets the door open, he is shocked at what he sees. The whole crew has turned into monkeys. Thankfully, the ship makes it through the storm, but not without damage. The crew remains to be apes, but the narrator figures out the reading, and playing the violin seems to calm down the men and help them return to normal. The narrator makes sure to keep the stone covered up. As the men return to normal, the whole crew is rescued. The narrator decides that the best thing to happen to the stone is that the whole ship needs to go down into flames. The crew is left in a harbor town when they decide to sign on to different crews and to not talk about what happened on that ship. The text is wonderful. It brings the words to life. The journal entries are just enough to tell what happens in the story. This book is this story is great when students are learning about voyages and how people travel long ago. While this book is purely fiction, this text is purely fiction, it does help the children's imagination and could be used for lots of different writing topics, and especially topics related to negative effects of television to the young readers. This is a story of a bunch of men at sea discovering new island. They come across one island and they find a glowing stone, so they bring the stone onto the ship and become captivated by it. They stop doing their jobs and just sit and watch the stone. That is all they do for days at a time. One day the captain comes down and sees the people that they have all turned into monkeys. He decides to destroy the stone, and the monkeys return to men. The writer Chris Van Allsburg did a wonderful job in portraying that television or any other sort of media device can change how one acts. It's a great story of the dangers of media and children being caught up in writing or watching movies, TV shows, and how harming they can be to kids. Here is summary. This story is an excerpt from the log of the Rita Ann. The rockfish discovered in an island is a turning point in the story. The voyage was smooth. Captain Hope had put all necessary provisions on board his ship, Rita Ann. The crew members were fine too. The Red talked, sang, danced, and enjoyed all along. The ship now reached a strange island. Trees stood here green but had no fruits. Air and water looked clean too but had a bad taste. The island had no sign of life either. Meanwhile, a piece of rock around 2 feet across came into notice. It was flat and shining on one side and showed strange visions. Slowly all ceased interest and reading, talking, singing, dancing, and enjoying music. Storm was gathering in the sky. The crew took no care of this either. The captain wished to warn them about the sky, but noticed them turn into apes. Then he started playing violin and reading books for them. He wrapped the rock from its vision. He felt the ship to war on another. He planned to burn and destroy the ship for the wretched stone. He set a fire that made the vessel and cargo sink in the sea. And they were deported in the harbor of Santa Pango. Gradually, the crew returned to normal humans. So, this is summary. Now, it's time for us to discuss the summary in Nepali. The Wretched Stone, अलक्षिणी ढुङ्गो, क्रिस भ्यान आल्सबर्गको यो एउटा बाल मनोविज्ञानसँग सम्बन्धित टेलिभिजनको एउटा आकर्षण र त्यसप्रति मान्छेहरूको चाहिँ एउटा लत बस्ने कुरालाई यस कथाले उठाएको छ। क्याप्टेन ऱ्यान्डल एथन हप रिटा एन नामको जहाजमा समुद्री यात्रामा थिए। यो उनको उत्तेजनात्मक समुद्री यात्रा थियो। क्याप्टेनले जहाजका बहीमा अनौठो र रोमाञ्चक अनुभव लेखेका छन्। क्याप्टेन आफ्ना नाविकहरूसँग म 8 को राम्रो मौसम भएको दिन यात्रामा निस्केका थिए। त्यो मई 8 को त्यो दिन उनको साथी मिस्टर हवार्डले आफूसँग राम्रो मनोरञ्जन गराउने नाविकहरूलाई पनि ल्याएका थिए। वाक्क लाग्ने कुरै भएन। जुन 5 मा उनलाई एउटा द्वीप देखेर आश्चर्य लाग्यो। नक्सामा त्यो द्वीपबारे उल्लेख गरिएको थिएन। उनको सोचाइ थियो कि त्यहाँ केही ताजा फल पाइएला। केही मानिसहरू लिएर उनी त्यहाँ पुगे, तर उनलाई अचम्म लाग्यो किनभने द्वीपमा कुनै फल वा जीवन केही पाइएन। पिउने पानी पनि त्यहाँ तितो थियो। उनीहरूले एउटा ठूलो 6 जनाले उचाल्नुपर्ने चट्टान देखे। त्यो चट्टान उनीहरूले जहाजमा ल्याए किनभने त्यो चट्टानको सतहबाट चम्किलो ज्योति आइरहेको थियो, जुन सुन्दर र हेर्दा रमाइलो लाग्ने थियो। केही दिनपछि उनका मानिसहरूले त्यो चट्टानबाट यति प्रभावित भए कि संगीत र कथा भन्ने कार्यहरू सबै हराएर गए। पढ्न पनि हराइसक्यो। ती मानिसहरू पछि असामान्य व्यवहार देखाउन थाले। सायद उनीहरू मानवोचित व्यवहार गर्न भुलिसकेका थिए। जुन 14 का दिन नाविकमा सबै नाविकहरू ढेउडु बाँदरको रूपमा देखिए अनि क्याप्टेनले भनेको कुनै शब्द पनि बुझ्न छोडे। तिनीहरू त बर्बाद भइसकेका थिए। यस्तोसम्म बर्बाद भइसके त उहाँ आफ्नो भाषा पनि बोले, के आफ्नो कर्तव्य पनि बोले, सबै बोले। कहाँ छौं भन्ने पनि भुलिसके। भयले तिनीहरूलाई दुखित बनाइदिएका थिए। तर क्याप्टेनलाई तिनीहरूको बचाउ गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने अझ आश थियो। अज्ञानतावश जब उनले नाविकहरूलाई भायोलिनको धुन बजाएर कथाहरू पढेर सुनाए, प्रत्येक व्यक्ति पुनः सामान्य भएर आए। एउटा जहाज उनीहरूलाई बचाउ गर्न आयो। त्यो जहाज र जहाजमाथि रहेको सामानमा आगो लगाई डुबाइदिए। सेन्टा पेङ्गोको बन्दरगाहमा बचाउ जहाजले उनीहरूलाई उतारिदिए। सबै कुरा ठिक रह्यो, तर ती मानिसहरूलाई फलप्रति अझै अस्वाभाविक भोक लाग्यो। यो कथा टेलिभिजनको विकास र त्यसप्रति मानिसहरूको लगाव व्यङ्ग्य गरेर लेखिएको कथा हो। अब यसले चाहिँ अब अहिलेको यो टेलिभिजनबाट पनि हामी धेरै पछिको यात्रामा आइसकेका छौँ। अब अहिले हामीसँग अनलाइन मिडियादेखि त लिएर सबै कुराहरू इन्टरनेट र त्यसको वरदानबाट प्राप्त धेरै सामाजिक सञ्जालहरू, धेरै कुराहरू चाहिँ धेरै विकासहरू आइसकेका छन् र त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अहिले मान्छे व्यक्तिवादी बनेको छ। त्यो सबै एउटा टेलिभिजन अगाडि थुप्रिएर चाहिँ सबै पारेर मुख पारिरहेको तर आँखा नझिम्काइकन हेर्ने दिनहरू अब अहिले चाहिँ सामूहिक रूपमा हेर्ने दिनहरू अहिले त्यस्ता दिन गइसके। मान्छे कोठा कोठामा आफ्नो हातमा पामटपहरू, मोबाइल, स्मार्टफोनहरू लिएर हेरिरहेको हुन्छ र आफ्नो आफ्नो कुराहरू गरिरहेको हुन्छ। त्यहाँ मान्छे अब आफ्नै संसारमा छ, उसले वरिपरिको मान्छेलाई चाहिँ त्यति वास्ता गर्न छोडिसक्यो। मान्छे त्यसैमा लगावमा लागिसकेका छ। त्यो अब योबाट लत कसरी छुट्याउने भन्ने कुरा मान्छेले त सोच्नै पर्ने हो। तर अब भेल आएपछि आउन दिनुपर्छ, त्यसले पागो पक्कै छोड्छ। पछि फेरि बर्खा जुन अवस्थामा आइरहेको थियो त्यो बर्खा यही अवस्थामा सधैँ रहिरहन्न, हिउँद आउँछ पक्कै पनि। फेरि हिउँदपछि बसन्त ऋतु आउला। अब चक्कर, यो जुन चक्र त्यसरी नै चलिरहन्छ। जुन रूपमा यो अहिलेको एउटा सामाजिक सञ्जालमा चाहिँ यो इन्टरनेटले ल्याएको विस्फोटन, अब सूचना सञ्जालको एउटा खालको विस्फोटन छ। त्यो विस्फोटन एउटा बाढी आग र त्यसले पागो कति फाल्छ त्योसम्मको चाहिँ चासोको कुरा हो। यो अलक्षिणी पत्थर एउटा टेलिभिजनलाई चाहिँ व्यङ्ग्यात्मक रूपमा प्रस्तुत गरेको कथा हो। Now let's get going with the analysis. The Wretched Stone is a story which contains the theme of the argument that TV is a curse to the modern society. Here, American writer Chris Van Allsburg has made a stronger case against television. There is general acceptable argument based on our experience. TV has become an object of hatred. It has upset our way of living. We are all highly brainwashed. We lose our power of imagination. Thinking power has been weakened. We have become dull, passive creatures of modern age. We are wasting our precious time of life being addicted to television. Life itself has become very constant. We are being befooled and misled. Politicians and advertisers have used such corporate media to rule over us. Our children are exposed to horrors, violence, pornography, and different scenes of crime and brutality. No reading is possible but see the ugly things on the screen. TV is not happy one. The writer of The Wretched Stone has criticized the culture beautifully in the form of daily catalog. In the smooth upbringing of the life, TV has interrupted vaguely. Fine entertaining crew became dumb and peculiarly indifferent to all lively talk. After bringing the Wretched Stone, that is newly scientific discovery abroad, everything was upset. All the usual behaviors of the people were changed to abnormality. Recovery was possible only by applying the psychological treatment to the people. The stone was thrown off the board and the whole ship and cargo were destroyed. Rescue was achieved, and risking the precious time of life, a gift of nature. The Wretched Stone is an interesting story. This is a very strange story, but strange in an altogether positive way. Though working with the full spectrum of color in artwork instead of sticking to this traditional black and white palette, Chris Van Allsburg has retained the intangible element of darkness that always somehow permeates his drawings. The story of the sailing crew that finds the title stone is an eerie one, frightening at times, and Chris Van Allsburg makes it all very real by the dimensional quality of his illustrations. It is a story with undeniable power. The author takes readers on another one of his infamous imaginative rides in this book that speaks to all generations. The story is written in diary form, which really makes the reader connect to the story right off the bat. We are introduced to a character who is aboard a ship on an exploratory voyage and speaks of their discovery of an interesting island. The character speaking goes on to explain some peculiar things that are bringing to happen to his once vibrant and educated crew. Okay, let's get going with the comments. The stone is into television, that is a barrier to routine life. TV is colorful like the island, having trees but no fruits, having air in poor quality, and having a spring bitter in water. Eventually, television turns its viewers into apes that are like human beings but without tail. An ape indeed knows how to imitate without being able to use the power of mind. The captain stands for correction and family whip. There is a lot of symbolism involved in regards to the stone that the crew found. The wretched stone that emits a faint light and appears to have the sailors in a trance. Every sailor but the narrator decides they would rather sit around the stir at the stone than work, and the consequences of these actions are devastating. Now, before we conclude our text, here is a short glimpse at the text again. Told from the perspective of Captain Randall Ethan Hope, the crew of the Rita Ann finds a strange glowing cubic stone on an exotic island. After taking the strange object aboard the ship, the crew becomes obsessed with the stone, abandoning many of their former interests and leaving the captain wondering how to shake the crew out of their stupor. Gradually, the glowing stone turns the entire crew except the captain into grinning apes. Afterwards, the Rita Ann nearly sinks. On July 30th, they are rescued by another ship, and that drops them off at a harbor in Santa Bengal. It is a story told in a journal format, as it takes place over the course of May 8 to 12 June or 12 July of an unspecified year. Okay, with this information, I would like to conclude my today's discussion on the Wretched Stone by Chris Van Allsburg. I am sure you got the points. If you have got any problem, please put your ideas in my comment box. I shall be back with another important video for you. Till then, have a nice time. Thank you very much again for your time and patience.